fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
I slipped the iron key into the ancient lock of Blackthorn Manor, feeling the cold metal bite into my palm. The tumblers turned with a reluctant sigh, and the great oak door shuddered as if waking from a long sleep. When it finally gave way, it exhaled a breath of stale dust, damp stone, and a metallic tang that set my pulse racing. The scent of centuries-old neglect wrapped around me like a shroud, and I inhaled deliberately, letting the air fill my lungs before the darkness swallowed me whole. The foyer was a cathedral of shadows, the shattered crystal chandelier above trembling like a wounded heart. Light filtered through cracked stained glass, painting the floor with fractured rainbows that danced across the cracked marble. My boots echoed a solitary rhythm that seemed to awaken the house itself. Every step I took sent a ripple through the silence, and the walls, blackened stone veined with faint, pulsing runes, responded with a low, mournful hum that resonated in my bones. 3 figures emerged from the gloom, each a living storm. Silas, the eldest, towered with storm-gray eyes that flickered like distant thunderclouds. His hair fell in dark waves, and the scar that traced his jaw hinted at battles fought long before I was born. When he spoke, his voice was low and resonant, a deep timbre that made the hair on my arms stand on end, as if a spark had brushed my skin. Cashin, the middle brother, stood close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from his fingertips. A faint ember lingered in the air around him, setting the very atmosphere alight. His smile was a dangerous curve, the kind that could melt steel, and his amber eyes held a promise of both comfort and chaos. When he brushed my wrist, a current of fire surged through me, igniting a longing I had never known. Reese, the youngest, wore a dark gaze that pierced the ache I kept hidden. His presence was a cool, intoxicating shadow that wrapped around my spine, a sensation both comforting and unnerving. He moved with a fluid grace, as if the stone itself bent to his will. When his hand rested on my shoulder, the contact was electric, sending a tremor down my throat and stirring a hunger that threatened to consume me. The manor seemed to breathe with us, its ancient heart beating in sync with the thrum of our combined desire. A low chant rose from the walls, a language older than the stones, urging a binding that would seal our fates. Silas stepped forward, his breath warm against my ear, whispering, "Elara, the curse will break only if you give yourself to us, to the blood that runs through these halls." Cashin's fingers traced the curve of my jaw, his thumb lingering on the soft skin, and he murmured, "Feel the fire within you, the power that awakens when 3 hearts beat as one." Reese pressed his forehead to mine, his lips barely grazing my temple, and his voice was a dark promise. "Let the darkness that haunts this place become our ally, not our master." My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat a drum of fear and yearning. The cold stone beneath my feet seemed to pulse, urging a decision. I could feel the manor's curse tightening, the walls inching closer, as if the house itself demanded a sacrifice. I closed my eyes, letting the sensations wash over me, the heat of Cashin's touch, the storm-gray promise in Silas's gaze, the intoxicating chill of Reese's shadow. My breath came in shallow gasps, my skin tingling with the electric charge of their longing. When I opened my eyes, I saw the 3 brothers waiting, their expressions a blend of power and tenderness. I lifted my hand, feeling the weight of centuries of expectation settle on my palm. "I choose you," I whispered, my voice trembling with both fear and fierce desire. Silas pressed his lips to my forehead, his kiss a promise of protection. Cashin's hand slipped around my waist, his heat searing into my skin, and Reese's fingers tangled in my hair, grounding me with his steady presence. The manor shuddered, its ancient curse cracking like glass under the force of our united will. Light burst from the runes, flooding the foyer with a golden blaze that chased away the shadows. The walls sang a new song, one of love forged in fire and storm, of a woman who dared to bind herself to 3 brothers and awaken a power that had slumbered for ages. As the dust settled, I stood in the center of Blackthorn Manor, surrounded by Silas, Cashin, and Reese, their arms wrapped around me, their breaths mingling with mine. The air was thick with the scent of incense and the lingering heat of our shared passion. I felt the manor's stone pulse beneath my feet, no longer a prison but a living heart that beat in time with ours. In that moment, I understood that the true darkness was not the curse that threatened us, but the fear of surrendering to a love that could set the world ablaze. And with 3 brothers by my side, I was ready to walk into that fire, hand in hand, heart to heart, forever bound to the manor's destiny.